Chosen one, the moment you begin to truly see yourself, not as the world has labeled you, not as your past may have defined you, but as the energetic being you were born to become, is the moment the fire within you awakens. It is not a fire that you light with effort. It has always been there, waiting, watching, breathing beneath the surface of your existence, beneath the layers of survival and self-doubt, beneath every mask you've ever worn. This is not just willpower. This is not surface-level confidence. This is your essence catching flame. This fire is your high sexual energy, not merely biological but cosmic. It's the core of your vitality, your creativity, your ambition, your magnetism. When left untapped or misdirected, it becomes chaos. But when you begin to understand its sacred nature and direct it with purpose, it becomes the single most powerful force in your reality. It drives your focus. It elevates your voice. It fills your silence with presence. It transforms your very movement into a language of strength. Women, whether they recognize it consciously or not, are attuned to this flame. They feel it before you speak. They sense it in the way you carry yourself, in your eyes, in your steadiness, in the tension between your restraint and your rawness. This is not about seduction. This is not about manipulation. It's about resonance. Your inner fire calls to the flame within others. It is ancient, it is primal, it is spiritual. And when you allow it to rise without shame, without hiding, without needing validation, it makes you luminous. But the fire must be tended. It must be respected. It is not here to burn indiscriminately. It is here to illuminate your path. When you begin to channel it, not waste it on momentary pleasures, not silence it to fit in, but honor it, you begin to radiate a frequency that only those awake can recognize. The kind of frequency that makes you unforgettable, not for what you say, not for what you do, but for what you are. This is the ignition. This is the sacred beginning of your emergence. And now, chosen one, everything about you begins to change. Not because you are forcing it, but because you are finally letting yourself become. Chosen one, once the fire within you is recognized, the next evolution is not in making it brighter, it is in mastering its direction. You have felt the surge of this energy before. The heat in your chest, the restlessness in your body, the desire to move, to act, to create, to conquer. It can be overwhelming, it can be exhilarating, and if you are not careful, it can be wasted. But you are not here to waste. You are not here to wander through life with power leaking from you in every direction. You are here to wield it, with intention, with clarity, with absolute command. Mastery begins when you realize that energy does not need to be loud to be effective. It does not need to be released to be felt. True mastery is in containment, not repression, but channeling. You no longer react to the pull of your desires. You choose when and how your energy moves. You use it to build your vision. You use it to speak with depth. You use it to move with power. You become precise, deliberate, alive with controlled intensity. This energy moves through you like lightning held in a vessel. And the more you learn to direct it, the more others begin to feel its hum. Women feel it not just in how you touch them or how you look at them, but in how you stand, in how you exist. Your energy speaks before you do. It holds a conversation of its own. One that whispers, "This man is not here to take. He is here to create, to lead, to build, to ignite." The more you master this fire, the more magnetic you become. Not by effort, but by alignment. You no longer need to convince others of your power. They sense it, and the ones aligned with their own flame will be drawn to it. Women who are not seeking a boy to entertain them, but a man to mirror their truth, to meet them in depth, in stillness, in passion. And that is what your energy has become now. Not just a current of attraction, but a mirror of transformation. You are no longer letting it spill in every direction. You are building something with it. Something sacred, something unstoppable. You are not a spark anymore. You are a controlled blaze. And the world has started to feel the heat. Chosen one, now that your fire has been lit and your energy has begun to move with intention, something remarkable begins to occur. You develop gravity. People start to orbit around you. Situations unfold with less resistance. Doors open that once stayed shut. And at the center of all this movement is one unshakable truth. You have found your purpose. You are no longer wandering. You are no longer entertaining ideas that do not serve your higher vision. You are no longer diffused by distraction. Instead, your energy, especially your high sexual energy, has become the engine of your mission. It fuels you each morning and carries you through the long, quiet hours of work, of creation, of self-mastery. This is the unseen advantage of the chosen one, that while others scatter their essence chasing everything, you have chosen one thing and allowed it to grow like a sun inside your chest. Women feel this. They may not always know how to articulate it, but they feel it. You don't talk the same way anymore. You don't walk with hesitation or confusion. You don't entertain every passing interest. There's a depth to you now, a sharpness behind your eyes that says you know where you're going, and you are not waiting for anyone to give you permission to arrive. That alone sets you apart. Purpose is magnetic, not because it's impressive, but because it's rare. A man in motion towards something real emits a frequency that cannot be faked. It doesn't matter what your mission is. It could be building a business, writing a book, restoring your health, or crafting a life of deeper meaning. What matters is that your soul is in it, that you are burning not just with ambition, but with alignment. This kind of purpose makes you unforgettable, not for what you've achieved, but for how you make others feel when they see you moving in truth. And for the feminine, purpose is irresistible when it is embodied, when it's not spoken as a theory, but lived as a rhythm. When you no longer need to convince anyone that you're special because your actions already reveal it. You are no longer chasing connection, you are becoming a beacon for it. And those who carry depth within them will recognize that you are no longer just a man, you are a movement in motion. When you speak with clarity. When you listen with purpose. You've stopped entertaining chaos, because chaos cannot exist in the same space as a man who knows what he's here to do. And that clarity doesn't just attract, it awakens. Women who've dulled their fire in the presence of indecisive men now remember what it feels like to be seen, to be met, to be invited into something sacred. Chosen one, your purpose has become your compass. Your energy is no longer pulled by impulse, it is pulled by vision. You don't radiate uncertainty, you radiate inevitability. And those who encounter you now feel it in their body. This man is going somewhere. And if I walk beside him, I won't just witness greatness, I'll become greater myself. Chosen one, when a man walks in his purpose and learns to direct the fire within him, something begins to rise through his bones. True confidence. Not the loud kind, not the one shaped by bravado or empty validation. This is the confidence born in silence. The confidence that does not waver under pressure. The confidence that remains, even when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when the only eyes upon you are your own. This confidence is sacred. It is earned. It grows each time you honor your path, each time you say no to what dilutes you, each time you choose growth over comfort. And it becomes a vibration that women feel instantly, not in your words, but in your presence. When you enter a room, you no longer wonder where you fit. You know who you are, and because of that, you make space by simply existing. You don't ask for attention, you become the attention. Confidence is not a mask you wear. It is a reflection of how deeply you trust yourself. And that trust is built through repetition, through showing up for your mission, through honoring your energy, through refining your direction. It is not about being loud, it is about being certain. A man who walks without apology, who does not shrink when he speaks, who does not question his worth when faced with rejection, who does not chase to be seen, but simply allows himself to be known. And the feminine, those attuned to the subtle dance of energy, can feel the difference immediately. You are no longer the boy who postures, trying to impress. You are the man who rests in his own power. There is no anxiety in your gaze, no tension in your voice. You're not rehearsing your value, you're embodying it. And that, more than charm, more than flirtation, becomes your allure. Your high sexual energy now flows through you like a current of truth. It does not beg for release. It informs your movement, sharpens your instincts, and deepens your stillness. When you speak to a woman now, she feels more than your words. She feels your grounding. She feels that you are present, that you are here, not seeking to prove, but inviting connection through certainty. And this is what makes you unforgettable. This is what makes you irreplaceable. Your confidence is not about being liked. It is about being aligned. And the more you align, the more your confidence becomes quiet power, the kind that softens hearts, that disarms defenses, that opens space for others to relax into who they truly are. Because in your presence, there is no performance. There is only truth. Chosen one, you have become the man who no longer needs to shout to be heard, the man who no longer asks for permission to stand tall. You have become the one who knows that his worth is not given. It is realized. And now that you have realized it, the world begins to reflect it. You have stepped into your radiance, not as a spotlight, but as a signal. And those meant for you, those ready for your truth, will feel it long before they understand it. And that feeling will never leave them. Chosen one, now that your presence is rooted in purpose and your confidence has been earned through inner mastery, the way you interact with others, especially with women, begins to change on a fundamental level. You are no longer trying to impress. You are no longer reaching to be seen. You are no longer pouring your energy into shallow exchanges, hoping something meaningful will appear. Instead, you engage with intention. You move with awareness. You dance, not as someone seeking validation, but as someone who has nothing to prove. This dance is not about seduction. It is not about tactics or tricks. It's about resonance. It's about showing up with all of your fire, your depth, your stillness, and your power, and allowing the moment to respond. You are no longer the man who overextends to keep someone interested. You've become the man who creates a current with his very presence. And if someone chooses to step into that current, the connection deepens. If they do not, your path remains unaffected. Every conversation becomes more than words. It becomes an energetic exchange. You're not rushing to fill silence, because you've learned that silence, when held with certainty, can say more than words ever could. You're not seeking to impress with what you know. You're creating space with how you listen. You don't talk over others, you draw them out. You don't dominate, you invite. Women feel this shift immediately. They sense that your energy is different. It's not scattered. It's not needy. It's not designed to get something from them. It's simply there, grounded and alive, offering something rare. The chance to be fully seen without pressure. The chance to meet, not to compete, not to convince, but to connect in a space that feels real, safe, and electric all at once. You've realized that the true art of interaction lies not in manipulation, but in presence. You don't rush intimacy. You allow it. You don't force chemistry. You become the condition in which it can naturally unfold. And because you no longer need anything from anyone to feel whole, your energy offers the rarest of gifts, freedom. The freedom to be real. The freedom to be curious. The freedom to explore without fear of losing yourself. This is the new rhythm of your interactions. A dance of truth and tension, of honesty and mystery. You're no longer a performer, you're a mirror. And those who interact with you will see more of themselves reflected back than they ever expected. Not because you're telling them who they are, but because your energy allows them to remember. Chosen one, this dance is sacred because it no longer centers on control. It centers on awareness. You've learned to follow the energy, to feel the nuance, to move with precision. You know when to lean in and when to step back, when to speak and when to let silence hold the space. And that kind of presence is intoxicating. Not because it overwhelms, but because it awakens. You've become the man who doesn't chase energy. You cultivate it, you protect it, and you invite others into it when it's real, when it's mutual, when it's alive. That is the power of the new dance. And you lead, not through force, but through frequency. Chosen one, in a world that rewards performance and pretense, your authenticity is a revolution. It is the rarest fragrance in the room, the sharpest edge, the softest safety. You no longer hide. You no longer water down your truth to be accepted, nor do you inflate your identity to be admired. You simply are. And that being, unfiltered and fearless, is what makes you unforgettable. Authenticity is not about being brutally honest or radically transparent for the sake of being edgy. It's about being whole. It's about standing in the truth of who you are, your strengths, your wounds, your brilliance, your flaws, and no longer apologizing for it. You've stopped trying to mold yourself into an idea of what others want. You've let go of the urge to be liked by everyone. And in that letting go, something magnetic has emerged. You. This version of you, the man who says what he means, who knows what he values, who does not bend under social pressure, this version is a lighthouse. Women don't just notice it, they feel it deep in their nervous system. In a world full of masks, your presence signals home. Because when a man is real with himself, he gives others permission to be real too. He invites authenticity by living it. Your high sexual energy, once hidden behind performance or channeled into conquest, nows through this authenticity like gold running through stone. It's not forced, it's not manipulated, it doesn't seek to prove, it simply exists. And that existence is potent, because when your desire is clean, when it is free of need and full of clarity, it becomes safe. And the feminine responds not just to passion, but to the safety of truthful passion. You've learned how to hold your truth even when it's inconvenient. You don't shrink from difficult conversations. You don't pretend to be unaffected to seem cool. You feel, you speak, and you stand firm. That firmness isn't rigid, it's alive. It pulses with strength and softness at once, and that duality is electric. It allows others to soften around you, to trust that what they see is what's real, and that what they feel is not being orchestrated, it's being shared. Authenticity creates intimacy without effort. You're not trying to break down walls, you're simply not building any. And that transparency disarms people. It unravels their need to protect or posture. Women are drawn to it not just because it's attractive, but because it's safe. It says, you don't need to be anything but yourself around me because that's all I'm ever going to be. You are not perfect, chosen one, but you are true. And in being true, you've become rare. Your authenticity is no longer something you try to express. It is the air you breathe. It is the space you hold. It is the rhythm in which you move. And those who are meant to walk with you will feel this frequency and rise to meet it. You are not the most polished. You are not the most practiced. You are something greater, real. And in this age, real is not just rare. Real is revolutionary. Chosen one, as your journey unfolds and your energy continues to rise, you begin to realize that true strength is not always shown through dominance or sharp control. It is also found in compassion. This is not the compassion born of weakness or compromise. This is a masculine compassion, forged in the fire of self-awareness, shaped by empathy and delivered with presence. You've grown past the need to prove your worth through sheer intensity. Now your warmth speaks just as loudly as your power ever did. Compassion is the force that balances your fire. Without it, your energy becomes too aggressive, too consuming. But with it, you gain the ability to connect, to inspire, to hold space in ways that don't dim your light, but magnify it. The chosen one learns this balance not from books or advice, but through experience, through loss, through vulnerability, through the quiet realization that raw energy without emotional intelligence is incomplete. When a woman stands before you, she does not want only your confidence, your strength, or your decisiveness. She wants to feel that underneath it all, you care. Not because you're trying to impress her, but because it is natural for you to care. Because the man you've become is one who understands that everyone you encounter carries unseen weight, silent battles, and hidden longing. And when you see that in them, when you hold space for them without judgment, without needing to fix or rescue, you become rare. Your compassion does not make you soft, it makes you clear. You feel deeply, but you're not swayed by emotional storms. You listen fully, but you do not lose yourself in another's story. You offer empathy, but never at the cost of your truth. And that rare combination makes people feel safe in your presence, not protected by walls, but by your integrity. This warmth is magnetic. It draws people toward you, not for what they can take, but for what they can become when they're around you. And women feel this most intensely. They sense that you will not play games with their heart, that you will not manipulate their affection, that you will not disappear when things get deep. You don't run from emotion. You know how to stand with it. Chosen one, compassion is your hidden edge. It is what allows you to lead without controlling, to connect without attachment, to love without possession. It turns your energy into something not just powerful, but healing. And in a world that teaches men to guard their hearts at all costs, you have learned the art of opening yours with wisdom. That opening is not weakness, it is your highest strength. Chosen one, Your fire does not exist solely for movement, for ambition, or for attraction. It is also the source of your greatest gift, your creativity. This is not limited to art or music or writing. Creativity, in its truest form, is the ability to build from your essence, to bring something new into the world that carries your signature. And when your high sexual energy is refined, directed, and harmonized, it becomes a bottomless well of creation. Creativity is your divine fingerprint, your way of communicating with the world without using words. It shows up in how you problem solve, how you build, how you dress, how you speak, how you lead. You begin to express yourself not from the mind alone, but from the body, the heart, the soul. Your energy begins to move through everything you touch, not as chaos, but as art. You are no longer copying anyone else's way. You are crafting your own. You take inspiration, yes, but then you infuse it with your truth, your rhythm, your fire. This is the essence of true masculinity in creation, not to imitate, but to originate. And when a man originates from a place of fire and alignment, the world pays attention. Women feel this creativity as something deeply attractive, not just because of what you make, but because of how you move through life. You turn ordinary conversations into meaningful dialogue. You turn everyday moments into small rituals of presence. You bring color, depth, and boldness to the mundane, and that kind of expression draws them in, not because you're showing off, but because you're showing up. Your creativity becomes a current that enlivens everything. It energizes your work. It infuses your relationships with depth. It makes your presence unpredictable in the most beautiful way. You're not a man bound by routine and repetition. You're a man who finds newness in everything, even in stillness. And that spark is everything. The more you create from your energy, the more magnetic you become, not only because of the results, but because of the joy and the intensity with which you express yourself. You're not living for applause, you're living for alignment, and that authenticity expressed creatively becomes a beacon for those who are tired of empty talk and hollow ambition. You show what it means to live lit from within. Chosen one, your creativity is not a luxury, it is your sacred responsibility. It is how your energy takes form, how your fire becomes visible. It is how the world hears your silent voice. So create, build, speak, move, dance, write, lead, live. Let your fire flow through your hands, your eyes, your words, because when you do, you are no longer just a man on a path. You become the path itself, and everyone who follows it feels more alive, simply because you dared to create what didn't exist before. Chosen one, there comes a moment in every man's journey where he stops seeing resistance as the enemy and begins to welcome it as the refining fire. You have reached that moment. Challenge no longer startles you. It doesn't throw you off course or convince you to retreat. It awakens your focus. It strengthens your will. It reminds you that the fire within you was meant to be tested. You no longer fear adversity because you've come to understand its purpose. It is not here to break you. It is here to shape you. Each setback, each frustration, each obstacle that rises is not an interruption of your path. It is your path. And you, chosen one, are learning to meet every trial with stillness in your spine and clarity in your chest. This is what separates you. You are not flinching, you are forging. Your high sexual energy, once misused in attempts to escape discomfort, now becomes the very power that grounds you in the midst of it. You don't run from pressure. You use it. You let it squeeze the doubt from your bones. You let it sharpen your attention. You let it deepen your commitment to the mission that called you in the first place. Every hardship now becomes a crucible, and instead of becoming smaller, you expand. This resilience is not just visible, it is felt. Women notice how you carry tension without letting it consume you. They see how you face difficulty without collapsing, how you continue forward with fire in your heart but calm in your eyes. That level of presence, that steadiness under fire, creates a field of trust around you. You become the kind of man others can depend on, not because you never fall, but because you always rise. And the feminine is drawn to this kind of strength. Not because you wear it as armor, but because it pulses beneath your skin like truth. They feel safe, not because you promise ease, but because you walk through the storm without losing your soul. Your challenges no longer isolate you. They integrate you. They burn away the noise and reveal the essence of who you really are. You are no longer at war with struggle. You have made it your forge. And in that fire, you are not just surviving, you are ascending. This is the strength that cannot be faked. It's not found in posture or words. It's felt in how you walk, how you breathe, how you show up day after day after day with unwavering purpose in your chest. The flame of challenge is no longer something you fear. It is something you welcome. Because you now know, it doesn't consume the chosen one. It reveals him. Chosen one, your journey has never just been about you. The deeper you've gone into your own fire, the more you've realized this path was always about something greater. Something lasting. Something that could not be measured in wealth or fame, but in impact, in transformation, in presence. You are no longer moving through life just to survive or succeed. You are moving to leave something behind. Your legacy is not made through titles or trophies. It's made through the energy you bring into every moment. It's made in the way people feel after encountering you. It's made in the quiet shifts you inspire in others, not by preaching, but by embodying a life of truth, focus, and fire. Your light now extends beyond the rooms you enter. It echoes. It lingers. It lives in those you've touched. You don't need a spotlight to be remembered. You leave your mark in ways most don't even recognize at first. In a single conversation, in the way you hold silence, in the way you listen without distraction, in the way you follow through without needing applause. Your high sexual energy, once a personal force, has matured into something generative. You are no longer just expressing it. You are building with it. And everything you build now bears the imprint of your soul. Women who experience you don't simply remember you because of your words, or even your presence. They remember the energy, the clarity, the fire, the depth. They remember how they felt more themselves around you, how your light didn't outshine them, it invited theirs to rise. You are not a man who takes up space to be seen. You are a man who creates space for others to see themselves more clearly. And this is your legacy, chosen one. Not a monument of stone or success, but a living frequency. A standard of what it means to walk in truth, to move with love, to burn without burning out. You are becoming the man whose influence ripples beyond his words. The man whose energy stays in the room long after he's gone. Legacy is not built someday. It's built now. In every decision, every breath, every moment you choose to remain aligned. And now you understand that the fire within you was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to light the way for others. Chosen one, there is a quiet conversation happening about you, just outside your reach, between lips you've never kissed and hearts you've never claimed. There are women, some who've shared brief glances with you, others who've stood near you in silence, and still others who've dared to speak to you, who return to their circles and say the words you never expected to hear. He feels like my soulmate. These are not casual compliments. These are not just playful fantasies. These are the instinctive responses of the feminine to something ancient and profound within you. You must understand that it is not simply your appearance they are responding to. It is not only your voice or your walk, or even the magnetism of your high sexual energy in the traditional sense. What they are feeling, though they may not be able to name it, is recognition. Something about you calls to something inside of them, something they may have buried, forgotten, or denied. It is as if your presence reminds them of a truth they once believed in but stopped speaking aloud. And now, in you, it's returned. This is what happens when a man begins to embody his full, integrated essence. Your high sexual energy, when transmuted through self-awareness and spiritual grounding, becomes more than just attraction. It becomes a signal to women who are searching for something real, something that doesn't flicker like a matchstick, but burns steady like a sacred flame. That signal says, here is a man who is not lost in the noise of the world. Here is a man who has walked through fire and come back whole. And it is in that wholeness that they see their reflection, not as an echo, but as a mirror. Women begin to tell their friends that you're their soulmate, not because you followed a script, not because you said the perfect words, but because your energy made them feel. And feeling is the feminine's first language. Long before logic arrives, long before analysis kicks in, she feels. And what she feels in you, chosen one, is a vibration that touches her core. It is rare. It is grounded. It is sacred. And it is unsettling, Not because it is dangerous, but because it is real. And real demands attention. Real cannot be ignored. Real awakens her. And when she is awakened, she speaks. She tells others. She confesses, sometimes even to herself for the first time, that you feel like someone destined, like someone carved out of the same spiritual clay as her. But this does not mean you are meant to be everything to everyone. This does not mean you belong to every soul who calls you familiar. It means you are now a reflection, a vibration that stirs dormant memories in the hearts of others. Some will want to claim you without knowing you. Others will want to hold you without understanding you. You are no longer just a man of energy. You are a man of impact. And the light you carry now is not just for you. It's for generations that will never know your name, but will feel the frequency you've left behind. That is the legacy of the chosen one, and it has only just begun.